What's going on, everybody? It's Wesley Krombel with Real Estate with Wes, bringing you episode 11. On this very special episode of Real Estate with Wes, we're going to be focusing on home inspections as I interview home inspector Ian Desjardins with Desjardins Home Inspections. Let's get right into it. Ian Desjardins, thanks for joining me, dude. Really happy to have you here. This is Ian Desjardins with Desjardins Property Inspections. Ian, tell me a bit about yourself, what exactly you do, and why your job is important.
Awesome. Wes, thank you so much for having me on the show. Again, my name is Ian Desjardins. My company name is Desjardins Property Inspections, and I am a licensed certified professional inspector. In a couple of sentences, I am a husband, a father of three, a landlord, and a home inspector, and a proud resident of Connecticut. There's a couple of reasons, for getting a home inspection before buying a house. I would say one of the bigger ones is, ultimately to try to save you money, and to really know what you're buying. When you buy a house, it's very easy to walk into the house and feel the emotional aspect of it. Oh, it's so charming. Oh, I love the size of it. You get all like attached to it and it's great, but it's easy to kind of miss those, bigger ticket items. So whatever the cost of the inspection was, at times it can end up saving you thousands, if not tens of thousands in repairs after you buy the house. But even more importantly than that, it's an educational process, right? So when you have a home inspection, it's super important that you go through the house with the inspector and he shows you, where are my shutoff valves? Where is my main disconnect? It shows you in case of an emergency where the things are in the house that you're buying.
Right.
And, it's an education process as well.
And I've always told people, and I'm sure you would agree with this 100%, but I've always said you learn more about your property and your home during the home inspection than you probably will for the rest of the years that you own that property.
Absolutely. Any inspector worth their weight will really encourage you to be there and ask a million questions, and get to know the house and figure out what's going on in the house so that there's no surprises when you move in.
So now, let's say I'm a buyer and I call you and I say, hey, I'm buying this property. I really need it inspected. What are, just kind of a general guideline, what are some of the things that you're looking for that to you are like really important, like things that you definitely don't want to miss during a home inspection?
Sure. Yeah. Number one, health and safety, right? You want to make sure that the house is healthy, especially with a lot of older homes that we have in Connecticut. Some of the materials that we used to build with back in the 1800s, even early 1900s, we now know aren't safe, whether it goes to lead paint or asbestos insulation, things like that. It's super important to know what's in your house. And then safety, if you've got kids, are my guardrails between my handrails over the stairs, are they short enough? Small things like that. And then obviously going from there, structurally, is my house sound? Actually, the number one enemy, I would say, of a house is water penetration, intrusion into the home. And then from there, how are my utilities, right? Are they dependable? Were they installed correctly? And, and what I mean by utilities is plumbing, heating, electrical. Some houses only have one bathroom. You want to make darn sure that that one toilet and that one tub that you'll be using every day is working the way it's supposed to.
Right. So as I guess more of a basic general question to take a step back, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important would you say, 10 being the most important, how important would you say it is to have a home inspection? And to the people who maybe aren't fully on board or think that they can just have a parent walk through the house and say, this looks good. Tell me how important you think it is to have a home inspector during the buying process.
Yeah. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it? It's a 10. And for those that, I've dealt with many clients. I've dealt with first-time home buyers that are clueless, right? They're accountants. They don't know how a house works. They don't know the inner workings. And then I've had clients that are licensed contractors, carpenters, plumbers. These guys really knowing a lot about what's in their field and feel like They have no problem going through a house and knowing everything that's wrong with it. And in my personal experience, there's a fine line between being a professional in your trade and actually being a professional home inspector. But that's why we get paid to do what we do. And that's why it's a very important field, especially when you make, for some people, the biggest purchase, of your life.
Help me understand a bit about during the inspection. I mean, we know that no house is perfect as much as we would like to think it is. Even the brand new constructions, there are things that during the building process are done incorrectly or aren't quite to what we would think of as perfect.
Yeah.
But are there certain things that you find popping up on home inspections that I don't want to label as minor, but are things that, just to ease the buyer's mind, are things that you shouldn't be too worried about?
Sure. Oh yeah, I know what you mean between major defects and the minor defects. And those I would say that I run into are minor wear and tear. So whether it be scratches in the floor, paint color, I see people worry about these little things, trim work, in a certain room, minor wear and tear, whether it be having to recaulk, around windows or the tubs, or repaint a wall because it's scratched, or let's say even a hole in the wall. Those kind of things are actually minor cosmetic issues versus your major utilities. For all those people out there that are just starting out and buying, looking at houses, let's say you're a month or two in and your patience is already wearing thin, be patient. It's worth it, right? The house that's meant for you is out there. You just need to take your time, look at everything and in the big picture, and you'll find it.
Awesome. Awesome advice, Ian. Well, I want to thank you once again just for being here. Super happy to have you on. Give a little bit of insight as to what exactly you do and why you're so important during the buying process. So Ian Desjardins, Desjardins Property Inspections, definitely a great guy. I recommend him 100%. He will definitely catch anything with any property. I've seen it myself.
Thank you so much, Wes, for having me. Take care.
All right. Thanks, Ian. I want to thank Ian once again for joining me on this episode of Real Estate with Wes. It was a pleasure getting to speak with him, and really, he's a super knowledgeable guy when it comes to home inspections and anything home related. Thanks for tuning into this week. I'll see you next week on episode 12 of Real Estate with Wes. Have a great weekend.